Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to week number 5 of the Link to the Past Randomizer League Season 2. I'm Adirondack Rick, and I am being joined by Spy Weaver as we bring to you the number 2 team of the Lost Woods Division, Team We're Bad at Team Names and Synack. And then, one of the other teams of this division, I don't know what place they're in, but we're buddies and Locke.
They would be the number 3 team.
Shut up.
In that very same
Shut up.
division.
Shut up.
Right behind your team, I believe, there.
Shut up. I do believe that if we win, we will be at least affirmed the second place position for this week, if not through any fault of our own. But if we do lose this race, we are in a tie for second place with but we're buddies. Heading into tomorrow night's match, I believe that's Chelsea Lynn versus Clifford in that match. Kick butt, Clifford. Go Team Bad. Introduce the week for us. Introduce the week for us, Spy Weaver. What are we doing this week?
Oh, we got probably one of the most notorious modes, probably next to Mystery. Only because in Mystery you don't know what you're getting into. This week we do. We have ourselves cross keys. Joy that can entail is key sanity with a cross worlds door randomizer. Just about everything you can throw into randomizer for you.
We are off and running, and we get ourselves a heart container in the first chest inside of Link's house. So, we're going to head over towards the uncle, and we're going to see what he has in store for us. I'm going to let you talk for just a few moments while they go ahead and do some exploration.
Heading over, taking the tier 1 tree pole, just some single rupee drops, looks vanilla. And looks like this is our first changed up door randomizer. That is not the uncle. Cross worlds, we can also have dark world entrances appear here in the light world. It can be a whole slew of different things this throws at us. More importantly, that we do take a picture of what our connectors are going to be. And looks like on the right side, we did find one of those certain connectors already.
You know, I was in a commentary with one of my teammates not too long ago, and Desert Palace was very infamous. This time it's not going to be quite as infamous.
And not hidden too far away. We do have a piece of heart sitting on top of that torch with some bombs in the first chest. Now it's just a matter of seeing where the other 2 exits will take us.
Yeah, that's one thing you want to definitely remember is the fact that this is a connector. So you get access to 2 different exits here. And they could take you somewhere nice and new. They could take you into the dark world, as we see from Synack. Locke is up on the mountain. I almost want to say that Locke had the better exit.
At this point, probably a little bit more you could have looked around for up there. But going back in, probably to take a quick look at what the second exit out of Desert Palace is here. We'll see that it is, in fact, a dark world exit.
And Locke is going to be doing a little bit of exploration, and we find ourselves one of our storyteller caves at the bomb shop, and that's all that Synack can do. He will go ahead and do a save and quit. Back to the start we go. So the first, you'd have to figure about a half an hour is going to be trying to figure out what we have for entrances. Oh, God. You know, you wanted to have that key before you went into Desert Palace. Oh. Look where that exit came. Or brought us to.
Near the Lost Wood. And Locke giving us a look at one of the fortune teller huts. So that's going to be it over there on that side. And ooh, look at what we got in the Lost Wood mushroom spot here.
We got ourselves a cane of Samaria for Synack. That Desert Palace small key would have been nice because it at least would have given the opportunity to at least get one item, but we can't get the other one until we get some weapon to deal with the enemies that are inside. That cane of Samaria is nice, except you see that empty bar in the top left. Locke is heading inside of the lumberjack's hut and finds a small shield.
Gonna pick that up, getting a little bit of extra defense starting off. Synack finds the front of the bar and looks like it relocated here in Kakariko, and finding a hype cave as well.
And with the bomb that is going to give Synack his first sword. At the back, we find 50 rupees, 20 rupees, the first of our glove, and our first map. The map to Skull Woods.
A little bit of fun that we are going to have with this mode. You're not going to know if the dungeon you are in is a crystal or a pendant until you find that map. And music will not let you know either, so you need to either
That's
find that map.
vanilla. I thought we were playing an entrance shuffle here.
There's only a few handful of locations that can shuffle around those drop-down areas. You're bound to get one or two of them maybe being vanilla. Over on Locke, though, we're finding our other cane. So Locke's got himself a pair of canes over there.
Synack gets himself the first of the big keys, this one going to Eastern Palace, the hook shot, and the map to Desert Palace, so we would all know whether or not Desert is a crystal or a pendant. Goal for these crossworld seeds is what? What do you need in order to beat this seed?
You need to find yourself a whole bunch of keys, particularly some big keys. You need to find yourself some maps so you have an idea of what exactly the dungeons are housing. And once you find yourselves enough maps, you can then use the process of elimination to figure out the rest of your crystal and or pendants if you're still missing a few.
But what's the end goal?
The end goal, of course, defeating Ganon after we find his drop down.
But he's not unbeatable immediately. What is it you need to do in order to be able to do damage to him?
We do need those crystals in hand. So we can do some damage to him.
All 7 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that practically is where I'm going with that, is the fact that we do need to get all 7 crystals. It is a 7-7 defeat Ganon. Now, the first aspect of that 7 is attached to what we find at the spot that the Ganon's Tower is located. It doesn't have to be Ganon's Tower.
That is true. We're finding a Master Sword over in what is now Mini Moldorm Cave. A whole bunch of hearts and a few more rupees over there.
But here's another aspect. If you can find Ganon, you don't have to do Ganon's Tower, right?
If he's in a specific location that does not require it, mainly being if he's not in his vanilla location. We've seen a few today already where he was vanilla. Because other than that, this is also considered a fast Ganon for this Crossworlds Key Sanity.
So we get ourselves the lamp. If we can get the back portion of Desert Palace and we get the big key, that will make that dungeon beatable. So Synack's going to be completing his tour by getting back into this one spot that he ended up not being able to go through earlier on because he got called a creeper and the lady locked up her door and said, "Nope, you're not going through here." There's Synack getting his blue cane. Oh, that's something else that we should add is that in cross keys, there is a component that is not normally turned on for other weeks that we have here. That is that quick change, the quick swap.
Yes, that is right. I do often forget about that one. Setting up quick swap with some of your items. Give me a quick access between a pair of them.
So Locke is finishing up with the back or the Kakariko village checks. Synack never checked the library, nor did he check the race game locations, as it looks like he wants to figure out what is over here behind the sanctuary. Well, there's the sanctuary. And now I'm intrigued because the back three to the escape portion, if we can find where Hyrule Castle is, you might be able to finagle yourself to getting those items in the back at an earlier time, at the risk of maybe locking yourself out of a couple of places in the front of the dungeon.
Locke finding the uncle area, getting a piece of heart from Uncle himself. And the chest, we have a full heart. So that is another drop-down location marked off. Slowly marking off those locations as far as where or what Ganon could be hiding at for us here.
Well, we find the lumberjack, and it's only going to be 3 bombs. So the connector to that one is going to be the tombstone in the graveyard. Locke is showing us what's at the library, and the library is our peg cave. Not peg cave, spike cave. And there's Ganon.
And we have found him. We do not have a vanilla Ganon today.
Which
Misery
means
Meyer over on Locke's side here, meanwhile.
Which is early access, and we have all the items. Well, I keep having to stop myself in mid-sentence because we don't have all the items. Naturally, if the big key turns out to be in here, then we do have all the items, but for now, we have a few things that we can check inside of here. And Locke can get himself into an early advantage if it does turn out to be something of importance. Castle Tower, key number 1 of 2.
Next check just netting us a piece of heart as we do continue on inside of Misery.
And Synack is going to be trying to get himself some bombs. Unfortunately, the 50-50 from lifting up that rock is not playing out to his favor. So he's going to head back over to Hyrule Castle, maybe see what we have behind that desert small key, as Locke continues to do some business over here inside of Misery Meyer. I was expecting that to talk about the big key to that dungeon, but that does turn out to be the big key to Misery Meyer.
Talk about a convenient location for that one for sure. Continuing on to the cutscene chest. Gotta push these blocks a little bit longer than you would have to if you had the fire rod to light these with our lamp. Then we gotta sit around for a little bit, wait for the screen to shake. Doing a whole lot of something in the other room, moving these screens so we can access the drop down.
I do want to point out that Bombos was over here on the right-hand side for Synack, so he does come up with at least something nice inside of here. The other item was 50 rupees. Locke, the big question is what is inside of this dungeon? This is now a beatable dungeon all of a sudden. Small key to the Tower of Hera. And that does appear to be the back section of desert that Synack has found up here on the mountain. And the dam. So if you saw last week with the mystery seeds, some of the cross seeds that we had, or the entrance shuffle seeds, once you drain the water underneath the dam remains undrained, or drained rather, for the remainder of the seed. As Locke now heads to the big chest has another small key. And Synack finds the midsection of Turtle Rock, and Locke finds the ice rod.
Ice rod, definitely a good find. Never know yet if we do or do not need Turtle Rock. We do need that map before we do know as much, or whether or not it is a crystal or a pendant.
Locke is continuing on inside of this misery mire. He has every intentions on going to Vitreous. Is this going to be a good decision for Locke, or is this going to backfire? Time will tell. So next thing in this connector over here, this is the connector that takes you off the mountain normally. Synack realizes this is not the old man cave and is going to double back to fully track the mountain. Find the potion shop up here on the mountain at the old man cave.
Another nice location to keep in mind where it is at. Once you do get that mushroom, you turn it in at your regular spot beside the vanilla potion shop. But then you gotta go pick it up at the wherever the door rando decides to put it at there. Synack continues the trek of the mountain, mapping everything out over here. As Locke is about to step into our first boss battle of the evening. Pulling out that blue cane, getting ready for some just-in-case strats. And instead, we're going for the bombs.
This strategy is the bombs.
It's very explosive.
Help weaken up those eyes. But you gotta be careful those eyes because they do a lot of damage, and Locke has been doing a pretty good job of avoiding them so far until now.
Now we do need to be careful. One more hit is definitely going to do us in. Although making decent work of the little mini eyeballs thus far, we are down to 4.
Yeah, but the worst is not done yet. We gotta get the big eyeball down too. One eyeball remaining before the big ball comes at us. Synack finding the old man. So Locke's gonna have to play this kind of defensively, and it looks like he definitely knows what he wants to do for this strategy. Just keep the eyeball away, just keep patient here. This is not a dungeon you want to go back through this.
Definitely a case where slow and steady is definitely gonna win it here. Ooh.
He pulls out the burner just in time. There it is. Locke completes Misery Mire, getting 3 bombs. And is this for a crystal? Yes, it is. 1 crystal on the board for Locke.
That is 19 minutes and 5 seconds in. Locke drawing first blood, getting the first crystal of the match. So Misery Mire being the right side of our race game area there.
And over here we have found the King's Tomb. It is a green potion, which I'm sure Locke could have very well have used just a moment ago. Synack finding the top of Hyrule Castle. Unfortunately, getting the Master Sword only unlocked a chess game, and I don't think you really want to be playing that chess game. We find the second exit from Turtle Rock over here.
And so I believe that is the mid and the back, or the second exit of Turtle Rock that we have found so far. Should be able to do a little bit of damage here inside of Turtle Rock, open up a few chests.
Yeah, but you definitely want to be a little careful through here because getting hit by some of the enemies in this dungeon is going to result in a very fast death. As Synack trying to be extremely careful, looks like he's wanting to get to the chain chops more importantly than anything else.
Taking a look at that lumberjack ledge, finding out that it is just a couple of rupees.
Nice patience there for Synack. It's a small key to a Misery Mire that we've already seen from Locke. Gonna help Synack route this a little bit differently, but I don't know if Synack makes the play for Misery Mire as long as it turns out to be a vanilla big key or a big key inside of its dungeon. Synack taking a death immediately to the laser trying to come inside.
Randomizer is definitely one of those different, I guess you say, game modes where the worst way a place or an item could be almost is the vanilla location. And
For certain.
Doing the key sanity mode, you know, that big key itself being inside that dungeon, kind of not the greatest spot for them.
Oh, for certain. So Synack here. This is not necessarily an easy section to be in either, because those skull heads, they do a lot of damage. The pokey, they do a lot of damage. Everything in this room does a lot of damage.
Few eyeball shots, one last hit on the pokey. Down goes the pokey, getting that key.
Yeah, and he ends up choosing to use it. Gets hit by the laser. And at the big key chest, lava chest, we find... Oh, that's not a good result.
Compasses are nice just for a quick item check when you're in the dungeon, but when you put in that much work for it, not really what you want to be seeing there.
Yeah, especially considering the fact that you're not going to get that key back. Now, obviously, you're going to make sure that you don't need that key by using the effort somewhere else. Now, Synack just being a little patient, and he's going to take care of this pokey by use of some magic.
Bookshop Cave, meanwhile, getting found over on Locke's side. Start us out with a 10 stack of bomb.
Yeah, this is a really great find for Locke. It's another one of those connectors, so you don't know where it's going to take you to.
So far, item-wise, not giving us a whole lot of anything we're looking for.
And still nothing inside of here, but once again, this is a connector, as Synack does get 300 rupees. And Synack wants to find out where this goes. Because if you saw race his week 4 race against Taxa, exploring the connectors in Turtle Rock is what helped yield him the victory over his opponent. And we find the entrance to Turtle Rock is out in the mire.
And it looks like we do need ether to open up the front door to what is normally mire as well.
And Synack finds the other connector here. This is the one that you normally find outside of Turtle Rock. Don't know if he's got any ambitions to actually go through this at this stage. And we find the back of Hyrule Castle. And I think that was intentional there from Locke. I don't know if he plans on going through this any further. And we do find the back of Bumper over here in the mire area.
Definitely some decent finds on both sides here. Looks like Locke's going to probably put that first key to use. First chest is finding the big key of Dark Palace. And second check is the mirror.
That's a pretty decent find right there for Locke. A really, really decent find at that.
This access to a whole another slew of locations, as well as better routing for a lot of these dungeons when we do start finding them.
So Synack soon we'll be finding the entrance to Misery Mire. Gonna be picking up this potion first. Locke, with that mirror, does have access to the top of Hyrule Castle as well.
Right up into the Vanilla's area for the castle tower climb, but it is nothing to record.
And so Locke going into this Turtle Rock, and Synack is thinking about it, but is choosing to walk away from Misery Mire.
Note that down, and we'll take stock of that for a later time, finding Spike Cave as well in the library location.
So, obviously, Synack will be out that ice rod for now, but we haven't even seen the back section of Turtle Rock just yet. And Synack continuing to explore, finding the Uncle region here, and Locke taking that death, as I mentioned before, though enemies back here extremely hard to deal with. They deal a lot of damage. Locke is out of here.
Turtle Rock, decidedly so, being one of the last dungeons in the game next to Ganon's Tower, does hurt no matter what mail you got. Pretty much one of those you just got to be careful of regardless, especially when you do find it early on, like our runners have today.
28 minutes in, Locke with the first crystal of the game. That out of misery, Meyer trying to put into a tie for second place in the Lost Woods division between But We're Buddies and Team We're Bad at Team Names, Team Kappa, sitting in first place currently with a 7-1 record. They must be stopped. And that's pretty much what it's going to come down to in this division, is keeping that team at bay. What was underneath the water, by the way? Did you see?
I did not see that. I was checking Locke, finding a small key to Turtle Rock there.
Just a little bit of love. And Synack, using his power glove, going to find a fortune teller. Synack's route's going to probably finish with Agina's check over here. But first, let's go and see what we have inside the hookshot cave for Synack. We already saw this with Locke. There's nothing really good inside of here.
Now Locke looks like we're taking that small key that we got early on to the right side of Desert Palace.
Yeah, he's going to get the bombos and the 50 rupees. Which really doesn't progress the storyline any at this stage unless we find Ice Palace somewhere. There are still a lot of places that we can go.
Every single entrance that you do have in the game is shuffled and randomized. Where
That's
things
rude.
are, you do not know until you find them.
That's rude.
You get a whole lot of other checks in funny locations that you normally wouldn't see people ever go to, especially in a mode like this.
Locke is going to get the old man as Synack finds where the breadsmith goes. Over at Agina's cave this time around.
Alright, Locke taking the old man out of Tower of Hair, gonna jump down a few cliffs here. Somehow the old man does not break his bones, and we will return him to what is at least his original door.
And you walk away with 3 bombs for that effort, as Synack's going to check the original mini Moldorm cave, and we find the chess game. And we get bottle number 2 as a result. And Locke is finding the back section of Turtle Rock and wants to give this another effort after taking the death in the Pokey Steal the Key room area. And Synack's going to be checking and seeing what these 3 entrances over here will lead to, providing he doesn't take a death to one of these crabs. Well, there's the old man. Okay.
Somehow made his way all the way over there into the light world. Pick up the rock. The original vanilla ice rod location is
Oh, that is a pretty nice find right there. Paradox Cave. 5 inside. It looks like Locke is going to do the same thing by checking the lava chest and getting the compass inside. And Clippy has now found his way up the mountain to the Turtle Rock cross section. And this is the other side of the old man cave. Somebody in chat asking, where was Mirror? It was in the Aga Tower Dark Maze, and wasn't that in the Dark World originally?
Checking over my notes, can't see if I have that marked down where that Aga Tower entrance was at. I believe it was.
Synack getting into Paradox Cave, 7 items inside, and another entrance to check out once he is done with this, as Locke is almost done with his studies of the Turtle Rock. Here's an interesting development, by the way. Locke could easily check the back of the desert area, and Synack can go dig something up.
Looks like Locke making some notes, pulling out that mirror. You might be right what we're about to see over here.
He's got a whole bunch of places he can go inside of.
Checking out the Vanilla Meyer shed area first. Looks like we're going to go over towards what is generally... Oh, no, we're going over to the other cave first over here in the Meyer area. Gonna check that out.
Yep, this is the backside of Bumper Ledge. Bumper Cave. We don't have the ability to check that just yet. We need to get the Mood Pearl. That's a great mirror spot. We're not getting back on that mirror. We're not getting back in the Dark World there. Yeah, you're not getting back to the Dark World there.
Well, try all as you might. That got you perfectly on that cactus. Oof.
I don't know how you could have planned that any perfectly.
I gotta say, that's the first time I've seen that one just as perfectly lined up like that right on top of that cactus. Oh, man.
I love the effort that Locke did put into this, though. The fact that he drove himself into the cactus, hoping that maybe after the first time he got hit, the second time the iframes would have been enough to get him back into the portal, but it did not happen. And we find Ice Palace. And Synack finds Hyrule Castle, the front entrance.
Locke was attempting to be one with the cactus. Apparently didn't think hard enough.
Tempered sword for Locke.
Definitely will take that item.
Well, of course. Alright, so Synack went out into the Dark World, so therefore he is now back into being Clippy. So he's got to get back into the Light World, but he wants to see where this other entrance goes.
Meanwhile, Locke decided to go straight to the back over here.
This is where you could maybe... Oh!
Ooh!
Synack had been checking entrances, and now comes out with what is the entrance for the pyramid bomb.
We are definitely not getting back there.
Nope. You've got to check the chest instead of going through entrances, because getting the information about the entrances is nice, But what's hindering the reason why he's not doing it at this point is because he wants to figure out what's going on with the entrances. He doesn't have a mirror. He's going to get back to that spot right now. Now, this is where it could get interesting for our runners if they wanted to steal a key. Because bear in mind, the entrance, or rather the entrance to the back 3 of escape at this point, is locked behind Aghanim. We don't know where Hyrule Castle is. There was a race earlier today where Hyrule Castle's small key turned out to be on the pedestal. And the back 3 were locked behind that same location. And Locke getting that same information. The big difference here for Locke is that he has a mirror, but he opted not to use that. Synack finding a heart container on Lake Hylia Island.
So we continue on with our checks. The only difference at this point now, Synack does have that shovel. Locke does have the knowledge of the Dark Cross item. A pod key.
And that's 3 pod keys here for Locke, and we find Eastern at Sahasrahla. Eastern is not a beatable dungeon at this stage. We need to have the bow first.
You have access to a number of checks on the inside and see if this is going to give us anything of use or if it's going to be more of the same with that. Just 20 rupees there in the first check. And Locke looks like we're heading over to the Ice Rod Cave location.
Yeah, Locke is about to find out exactly what Synack found out in regards to the old man and where he is staying for this week. And more rupees inside the second chest here in Eastern Palace. I'm surprised Locke had not opted to go for the health refill while walking in there. Said, nope, I'm good.
Finding Paradox as well and getting out of that right away to check the other entrance over this area and going right back into Paradox.
Item number 3 is a piece of heart. Synack is walking past the hint tile, and bear in mind, like it is for any of these weeks here in the league, there are no hints turned on. Final check coming up here for Synack. If he doesn't find anything here, that is it. He is done. Where's this moon pearl?
Apparently buried very, very deep already at this point. We're darn near 42 minutes in and haven't seen hide nor hair of it yet. Last check here in Eastern will net us another piece of heart. That'll give us a full heart container.
Unfortunately for Synack, who wants to take a death.
At the one time you didn't want to get a full heart refill there. Does end up getting the death warp and is exiting out of there. We see a map check. We got a 5-6 crystal at Desert and the red pendant up at Tower of Hera. But keep in mind, even though the map does show those at their vanilla locations, the entrances are not there.
Locke has found the entrance to Spiral Cave. Slowly walking around the circle. Synack finding the other side of the quarreling brothers. Magic powder. We have not seen the magic bat, though. And Synack finding the quarreling brothers takes him up to the Super Bunny exit on Dark Death Mountain.
Should give us a quick look over here at what the entrance of Turtle Rock will require, and that is Quake today. So we need the 2 medallions we do not have yet if we need to get into those entrances of Misery Mire and Turtle Rock.
Synack finding Spectacle Rock upstairs could be something of importance. And it is a shield, or fireball shield, that is. Synack's gonna drop on down, and bear in mind, this gives him control of the sword if he wants to use it. But as long as he's in this cave. Because this puts him in the Super Bunny state, but there's, of course, no chests to check in here. And that puts him up on the floating island, which would be a place that Locke could get to if he wanted to check it out at some point in time, because he's got that mirror out of the Aghanim's Tower portion of Hyrule Castle.
Looks like Locke is going to be heading down into the front of Escape here. Let's look at what we have hiding down in this part of the dungeon. First check is some bombs.
Synack realizing starting here is not going to do me much good, because you're just going to take me over there to the east side of Lake Hylia. And now he's going to take a look at his notes, try to figure out where he needs to go, as Locke is locked into this deeper portion of Hyrule Castle.
Next chest gets us the compass to Ice Palace. Got one more in the way of Zelda's cell coming up down here.
What do you do if this comes up empty?
Sit here, stare at my notes, and wonder what I haven't checked yet. I believe Locke hasn't found what we just saw over on Synack's side. Oh, that's a hard reset there on Locke's side.
I know what's gonna happen. I know what this is about.
So what are we doing?
I think Locke just did a save scum. And he's gonna steal a key and now go back to the back of the escape area to find out what's those 3 chests back there. That's exactly where he is heading. Back into the castle.
That'll avoid what we might have saw earlier today. We did have a match where we had one of those keys on pat.
Bear in mind, we know where Agha's Tower is. So there's Locke getting the key, and now he's going to take that to the back of Escape. This is not in logic until we find the Hyrule Castle key or defeat Aghanim. This is smooth thinking here by Locke. And if you're on the But We're Buddies team, you're wanting to see a major item in one of these 3 chests. Fire rod, bow, maybe a big key somewhere. You want to see something that Synack might not be thinking about. that might give your team the edge. Okay, what are we going to get in the bank 3 of escapes by Weaver?
You know, I have this bad habit of cursing people. I don't know if I really want to say anything until we see them, but I think we might see a fire rod in one of these two that we got left here. Map of Thieves Town, full heart, and just 1 rupee.
Nothing good in the back 3 of escape. But I do respect Locke's decision. That was a very good decision there for Locke to do that. Now you no longer have to worry about the Aghanim requirement. You don't have to worry about the placement of Hyrule Castle Key. It's completely dead to you. We're going to see Locke now go through Eastern Palace. Obviously, again, this is a dungeon that is not beatable. And Synack with that save and quit.
Maybe.
Yep. Now with that save and quit, he cannot save that key or get that key back.
It's going to be interesting to see how much that weighs on Synack's mind. We do know there is nothing back there.
But if Synack decides at some point in time during these proceedings that he has to go and find out what is at Aghanim, that's going to be time that he loses to Locke, who already knows. Synack is back in here, and his one play now is to check the back in Dark Cross, where there will be a Palace of Darkness key. Now, that will be Palace of Darkness key number 2 for Synack. These two teams doing stuff that we've seen from either runner already, so we'll give you a look at week number 5 here in the Lost Division of the league. While we're buddies taking on Team We're Bad at Team names. Let's see numbers 2 and 3 teams of this division. Team We're Bad is currently sitting at 6 and 2 heading into this match, but We're Buddies sitting at 5 and 3. So if Locke is able to beat Synack, that will put the two teams into a tie for second place heading into tomorrow's second match between Chelsea X Lynn and Clifford. Grouchy Old Man, who is the 7th place team of this division with a 2-5-1 record, takes on the division leading team Kappa, 7-1. They're currently sitting at the Missing Links. They're 6th in this division, 3-5. Takes on WJPTBB. They're 5th in the division with a 4-4 record, actually tied for 4th. And where in the world is our gosh dang Bambos? They're currently in 8th in this division with an 0-7-1 record. Will be up against Willpool Pad for Food, the other team that is 4th in this division with a 4-4 record. Top 3 at the end of week 7 go on to the playoffs.
And over on Synack's head, it looks like we're getting probably close to some new information here. Go a little bit farther to the right.
Yeah, but why take it this direction when you can take it through a sequence break? Find out what the hobo has in store, and then make your way over towards Zora to complete the check over in that direction. So Locke is about to find out the connector here. We already know what this is going to lead to. It's not going to be anything of major importance, but wait, it might be. Remember, there is something up on that mountain. And by the way, this gives Locke access to Eastside Death Mountain with that mirror. This is a whole lot of checks for Locke coming up.
whole lot of new doors, especially with that mirror in hand. Interesting to see what we have hiding up there. Well, Synack going down into our hobo check. Today, under the bridge, we are hiding a big key to Skull Woods.
You know, when you find a big key, you're hoping for something nice and wonderful. Maybe the Turtle Rock big key. Maybe a big key that opens up a big portion of a dungeon like Thieves Town. Skull, you just look at that and you go,
Pretty much just gets you access to a big chest, and that is about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Hoping more or less for something that gets you access to a boss at this point.
Mm-hmm. Locke is doing everything in his power to miss those Tektites. And the problem with those Tektites is that they do 2 hearts damage to you. But did a good job avoiding it this time around. Just gotta avoid the dead rock, which we know how dead rocks behave in this game. And we find the other end of the rat den. So I'm thinking we are starting to run out of plausible locations.
Now, we haven't seen either of our runners use that shovel yet, but it looks like that is exactly where Locke is headed right now. We've had that for quite a while at this point.
Why would you want to use that shovel?
Run over to this dig spot and see if we got something hiding over here that could be of use at this point. Survey says it's the boots!
It's something you should have probably have put on your to-do lists sooner.
Especially that we know now that they are the boots. That is definitely for sure. That opens up a few more locations that we can now check here. First of which being Bonk Rocks, and it looks like that is where Locke is headed right away.
Shovel is one of those locations that gets put off for a long, long time. And we find the back section of Swamp Palace and Bonk Rocks. And I would have, if I was Locke in this position, I would have at least checked that first chest and found out what was inside.
Still missing those flippers, though.
Synack finding the back section of the tower, and he's gonna do the death here to make sure that he can at least get to those 2 checks. He will get the mirror soon enough. This has been a check we've been waiting on for a long time here.
Locke making their way up to the Zora area. The ledge today is hiding a bottle with some green goo on the inside.
Chat pointing out that Synack does not have that Castle Tower key number 1 listed on his to-do list, so that's it. He can't get to the mirror. Castle Tower key was in Misery Mire. That's why that seems to be why Locke was able to pull that up. But Synack is done inside of that dungeon. Not much else he can do. He won't be able to get that mirror. And that mirror is not necessarily required at this stage. Obviously, it's nice for routing, but logically, it's not required. Oh, Clip, you can't get that chest, but we do see where the Bonk Rock's chest landed at the hint teller near the Palace of Darkness.
And here's another one we're about to see on Locke's side. We're taking that Bombos right on into Ice Palace.
So at what point in time do we see Locke decide to do Icebreaker? He's got the Cane of Samaria out, which tells us it's going to be real soon. Synack looks like he's about ready to check the shovel spot. So it's going to be about a 3-minute difference between when these two runners picked up the boots.
First chest in Ice Palace is our bow.
That makes Eastern beatable.
That is a big find over here. Let's see Locke opting to pop back out. We'll go flip the switch over here. Then more than likely give us a look at Icebreaker.
So, Spy Weaver, how about you introduce to us what this Icebreaker is all about?
Because the way you could explain it is it makes Ice Palace a little more nicer routing-wise. You can throw down yourself a Samaria block if you set up just right on the proper pixels here. You see Locke using a little bit of pause buffering to get across, and pushes you right across the barrier there. Pretty much giving you access right on down to the back of Ice Palace and all those chest checks without the need of the Ice Palace bomb jump.
But there's one problem. He does not have a hammer. So he can't get that middle chest.
Ooh.
There's our Moon Pearl. And Locke is without a key. That's it. He's done with this dungeon. He can't do anything else.
Might not be able to get any farther, but he did find himself the Moon Pearl.
Yeah, he can't do anything else. That door's locked, and it's permanently locked. But that Moon Pearl opens things up 59 minutes in.
So either way you look at it, that is definitely a good find at this point in the match. How we're in, we found our Moon Pearl.
And now this will give Locke reasons to check all the chests that he was unable to check because of him being in a bunny state without that Moon Pearl. This seat is about to take off for Locke. Synack needs to get into Ice Palace.
Locke getting a quick mirror bonk there. Try number 2 gets him in, and it's just a fairy fountain. Meanwhile, Synack looks to be heading towards the cutscene chest over here in Misery Mire. Get us the all-important key for our mirror.
And Locke, knowing that both of these exits take him to Dark World exits. This gives him a lot of things to do. Moon Pearl was in logic. You don't need the hammer to get that far. You just need to have the hook shot to get on over to that side. That's something that really is something that can easily be forgettable. Now that we have the Icebreaker. There is that underlying fashion about that one chest that Locke has left behind. And that's not going to be a spot that he's going to get to easily. Earlier today, there happened to be an item in that one chest that was required to beat the seed.
The old fish just giving us a map today. It is Pod, and we are finding out Pod is in fact a regular crystal. And we got another rod over on Synack's side. That is the ice rod.
That is right.
In Misery Mire.
We did find out the Thieves' Town was a green pendant.
Synack picking up yet another small key to the Dark Palace.
And also, apparently, Ice Palace was blue pendant from what we see in chat, so therefore we know our crystals, we know our pendants. We just don't know which one of the remaining crystals that are question marks at this point are the other end of the 5 and 6. Locke is using the mirror now to check to see what's inside of King's Tomb. As Synack gets ready to head on over, and oh, King's Tomb is the back of Skull Woods. The boots open up a lot in this seed.
Definitely another nice find over there for Locke. Choosing to nope out of it. Opening up the first chest.
That's
we
because
continue on.
And that's because the issue is Mothula technically is not reachable without that fire rod. And we do find the 5-6 crystals as Turtle Rock and Desert Palace. So Turtle Rock is the other of our 5-6.
So with that, we do have complete map knowledge. Locke gonna give us a check of something that you don't normally see unless it is entrance rando. This is a chicken hut.
One item inside of here, so it's a good place to go ahead and visit it. Synack makes his way towards Vitreous, 50 rupees inside the chicken coop. Somebody in chat was asking for clarification. What ended up happening in the earlier race is that a runner did the icebreaker and they left behind the item that was inside of that hammered room between that spike room and the vanilla big key chest. And what wound up happening as a result is it had the fire rod. Synack trying to take care of as many of the items as he can while he is in burner state, but it does look like he should be fine as long as he doesn't take any real bad damage from the main eye right here. Looks like he's going to go right back over to the burner, or not. I know he would love to have that heart that just went away. By the way, that's weird that there was a heart in that room. You don't usually see things like that in boss rooms like that.
Now that you mention it, I guess I didn't even really think about it until then. Just kind of saw that, like, huh.
Yeah. So that completes our first crystal for Synack. He ties up the crystal count at 1, but needs to get into that ice palace while Locke is heading into Skull Woods, the front section. And the fire rod is in the first section of Skull Woods.
As we were talking about close to vanilla locations, or at the very least vanilla dungeons for items earlier on. It's another example. Fire rod hiding out for us today inside of Skull Woods. Next check just yielding some bombs. Locke will continue on.
And Synack on his pause screen a little too longer than comfortable here. The question is, Does he remember what he needs to do in order to score the Ice Palace or to score the Moon Pearl and Ice Palace? Ice Palace is reachable.
Save and quit, and it looks like he's going to Link's house.
Possible.
Right over to Ice Palace, or
Nope.
Going the other way.
He's going to check the Bonk Rocks over here, just outside of Link's house, but it's just going to be a shop.
Locke's next chest inside of Skull Woods, yielding a piece of heart for a full container, and the last one here, a compass of Ganon's Tower. Shouldn't say the last one. We do have one more here over in the pinball room.
And that is a small key to this dungeon. Nice and vanilla. And out of this door goes Locke. And I'm thinking Synack here is in a position where he may have written off Ice Palace, but he's about to find the entrance to Swamp, and I'm wondering, will he check this first chest? No, he won't. We find Ganon's Tower.
That is definitely a nice find here. It'll give us access to a few checks here right up front. 20 rupees sitting on the torch. 2 more over on the hope room to the right side. We can go further with 1 key if we do choose.
Just a pair of hearts for Locke. But he will continue. We don't have access to the top. Now without the big key, Synack running to the south. I think he's figured out he's got to be in the Ice Palace. No, he isn't.
Thought about it, got close.
I wonder why he's writing off Ice Palace. Like, what is he under the impression of that's that he's missing inside of Ice, or what is the impression he's got about Ice Palace at this point?
Wondering if maybe it was misnoted where Ice Palace entrance was. I wouldn't think so. Meanwhile, Locke, that is a hammer in Ganon Tower tile room. That is another nice find.
That is huge. That's going to be huge.
It's going to open up a whole nother slew of areas for Locke and a whole bunch more checks. Unfortunately, though, we did get Wallmaster. You're going to have to redo dashing through the tile room here. Get another try at the torch room. You know, I'm not wondering at this point if Synack has forgotten about Ice Palace altogether, unfortunately.
It seems to be like he's completely written that off. And this is just going to allow this to be a runaway. He won last week in a race of similar facts when Hacksaw did not go through the transport or the connector in Turtle Rock, and that just completely destroyed that on their attempt. Synack has just completely, for whatever reason, written off Ice Palace at this point.
Speaking of Ice, Locke finding another small key to Ice Palace and the Titan's Mitts in Ganon's
Everything is coming up Locke at this point. Synack has to get Ice Palace. And I think he's figuring it out now, but he's just given up. No, he's not. Come on, Synack, you're missing Ice Palace. You got this completely written off.
Keeps getting close, but turning around. It's just kind of unfortunate. Something you just do not want to see in a race, especially one here between the 2 and 3 seeds of this division. Continuing on in the Stalfos room, finding 20 rupees, massive map of Eastern Palace. Knock out those Stalfos, prepare to continue on a little bit further we got ourselves the mushroom and blue mail finally.
Looks like Synack has opted to go with a sequence break without the flippers. And we find the hint for the Palace of Darkness, or the storyteller outside of the Palace of Darkness at this point.
Locke finds another piece of heart. Take a right. No, don't go south, Synack!
I'm wondering if Synack doesn't realize that he's got the bombos. I'm wondering if that's what the biggest problem is, because it just seems to me like he is completely writing off Ice Palace as an undoable dungeon at this point. But the problem is that this is the gatekeeper of the entire seed, and we get the big key to Swamp Palace. Another big key you don't want to see. But the more time that Locke is finding important items to this seed, the bigger this lead is going to be for Locke.
I'm just wondering if it's either a case of mismarking having bombos or just not having written down where Ice Palace entrance is. Either way, it's unfortunate for Synack, just kind of going back and forth here.
There's the small key to Swamp. Another huge find for Locke.
Still missing those flippers, though. So not able to do too much yet.
Yeah, that's why we can't even check that first chest.
We can think about it. We can
think about it.
Up yonder. I mean, it's right over there. Can't quite get to it.
Yeah, can't get that from here.
Over to Zora, and we're about to see what Bob is hiding in his chest. We're on Locke's side. It is the map to Swamp Palace. I wonder if with the sequence of items we're finding, if we're not going to find the flippers right on down here on Locke's side now.
Yeah, that would be pretty much at this stage. As long as Synack doesn't get into Ice Palace, that's going to be game, set, and match.
The way all the items are pointing, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we did find those flippers. Everything kind of pointing you to one specific dungeon that we're finding in Ganon's Tower so far. Synack heading back up to the Vanilla Hyrule location. Locke finds for us today small key to Castle Tower, 10 arrow, and a piece of heart.
That is Aghanim access if we need to do it. But very, very unlikely that we do need to do it at this point. Moon Pearl is in Ice Palace, and Synack just is written off doing that dungeon at this point.
Just kind of glancing down over things here as well. We have yet to see Tower of Hera, Palace of Darkness, and Thieves Town locations.
And nice safety there and half magic.
Yep, that is definitely something you're going to pick up right there.
Find another portion of that long connector.
And Sahasrahla has moved to the Village of Outcasts today. Hiding in the back, we have 10 arrows, 5 rupees, and a small key to Skullwood.
Normally you're happy seeing some small keys. Skullwoods is one of them that you really aren't happy seeing.
To be fair, you're really happy seeing any kind of key for Skullwoods?
No, not really. As Synack looks at his information.
Well, if nothing else, looking at the screen, you should be able to tell that he does have bombos. I'm just wondering if he's completely forgot where the Ice Palace location is at this point.
And while this is going on, Locke is just growing the lead further and further. And you see Locke getting ready to do a mirror. It's going to check to see what's on the back side of the race game to this entrance. And it's just one of the storytellers. And so K45's location, south of Haunted Grove, being checked by Locke. And it is another fairy fountain. Synack continues to stand inside the house. This is, like I said, the entire opposite happened last week with Synack, as he was the benefactor, figured it out, but the problem is that Locke has already figured this out a long time ago. Find Super Bunny Cave, which will give him the access to 2 more checks as well as another connector.
Alright, so Super Bunny housing today, just 10 arrows and the blue boomerang. So it looks like we have a decision.
Yeah, and it's the wrong direction.
Back, no. Back into the Desert Palace connector here. This is just a bit of the insanity you can get here during cross key.
He is checking every single one of these chests. He thinks he's. This is really harder for Synack, is the fact that as he continues to look through all of these checks, he is under the belief that he is left something behind in a dungeon that he's already seen. But the problem is that where he needs to go is a spot that Locke was. And Locke was here now. It's been 22 minutes since Locke found the Moon Pearl.
At just about the top of the hour, Locke did find that Moon Pearl hiding out in Ice Palace. From there, everything just kind of started opening up.
Yeah,
you know,
because
Locke is taking that fire rod to the back of Skull here.
Yeah, because what this game ends up doing is it can really have one major item that is locked behind something, or one major item that is really the pathway to the rest of the game. And if you can't figure out what is preventing you from getting to that one item, you're gonna have a real bad time.
It seems more often than not that does happen. You got one of those key items, like you said, hiding the rest of the progression. And
there's the flippers.
Boy,
there's
Locke
the flippers.
Taking down Mothula, getting flippers for their troubles, as well as Crystal number 2 at 1 hour and 22 minutes on in. And things just keep opening up even further here for Locke. We do know where Swamp Palace is. It is right over here, just about next door to Skull Woods. It's right at the Bonk Rocks. It looks like that's right where Locke is heading. Well, there's the Ganon Tower big key. Hiding out here in the first chest of Swamp. Locke continues on. Synack looks like we're backtracking our steps here to see if there was something that we did end up missing. Alright, head on over to the Lake Hylia area, Synack. Head on over there! This time we're exiting Link's house. We're heading down. We're going back to the north, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like he's heading right back for Hyrule Castle. I've just got to think that he's thinking, I don't have a way past that first room in Ice Palace, and just forgot about the bombos being in his arsenal. There's got to be something that he's missing here. Like, this is just tough more because of the fact that this is now just turned into a runaway. Like, very, very unlikely that we're going to see Synack come back from this at all.
Especially with that fire rod also being locked behind pretty much everything else inside ice with that moon pearl.
Yeah, that moon pearl locks up the hammer. It locks up the Titan's Mitt. It locks up the fire rod. There's just way too much that's locked behind this, and unfortunately, Synack is not going to figure this out anytime soon. Just based on the way he's walking around. He's written off Ice Palace. I don't know if he's just didn't jot down that he had seen Ice Palace. Maybe he thought it was just the other side of the Ice Rod Cave. But it's unfortunate, and he ended up winning last week when Hacksaw did the same thing with the Turtle Rock entrance for the longest time. And here he is this time around. Unfortunately, it seems like the same thing's going on with him this time around.
Just one of the unfortunate bits about Crosskey. Like I said, not sure if he's entirely forgotten where Ice Palace was, or like you've been saying, if you forgot that with that bombos in your arsenal, you can get past that first door. Does also have, it looks like, the castle tower key. So could possibly go back and grab that mirror. Either way, still needs to head on down towards ice. And dashing right on by it temporarily. And I think, looking over at Locke's side now, all we are still looking for would be the Turtle Rock big key and possibly a few small keys.
Yeah.
And the pod entrance.
Oh, that's right. We haven't seen... Yeah, we haven't seen Thieves Town entrance either, but that's a pendant, so that's a little less on our concern list here. But Synack is going back now to the Kakariko Village, which now means he's starting to recap some of the entrances. And that is a small key to Misery Mire dungeon we've already finished. We don't need that one.
Alright, Synack taking another save and quit. Let's hope it goes to Link's house at this point. Meanwhile, Locke dropping into yet another boss fight, making his quick work of the puffball. Pulls out that fire rod. Not quite getting the one cycle out, but getting it on the second time.
Yep, indeed. And then he gets a blue rupee for his troubles, and we'll pull out with a crystal. That's crystal number 4, or number 3, rather. And Synack back in desert. I've already gotten some grief because of what I did last time. We had a whole bunch of entrances, or a bunch of times instead of desert. I'm not doing it this time around.
Alright, Locke pulling out that flute. Looks like we should be getting an activation here very shortly. And then we can continue on to try to hunt down a few more entrances, as well as another big key. Well, Synack is back up the mountain, desperately searching for that one entrance. Just joining us, what Synack is looking for at this point is the Moon Pearl hiding inside of Ice Palace. The Ice Palace entrance over by the Fortune Teller shot by Lake Hylia. Locke did end up entering inside of Ice Palace with that bombos. Opening the 2 chests they were able to, grabbing that Moon Pearl as well as a bow. There, everything is just kind of cascaded and opened up for Locke. Synack, unfortunately, looks to have possibly forgotten either where the Ice Palace entrance is, or that you can get in there with the bombos at this point.
And I loaded up his stream, and he does have that highlighted, the bombos. So it's not a case of him, maybe he hasn't even noticed that he has it. This is going to come down to him forgetting about the Ice Palace, or just something to do with the bombos. I don't know, but it's just, again, this is the reason why this is unfortunate is more of a fact that what's behind this Moon Pearl is way too much, and for the past half an hour, Locke has just ran away with this seed, whereas Synack has been backpedaling.
It's definitely a wide gap that has begun to open up here, given how long ago Locke did find that Moon Pearl. It pretty much found it at about an hour on the mark. About the last half an hour or so, like you said, it's been Synack just kind of double checking these locations, making sure that nothing's been forgotten. It's basically probably double checking their notes.
Synack going down this entrance here, and this is just going to get him back to get those 3 bombs. It's not much there.
Meanwhile, Locke has found Tower of Hera. Not yielding really anything for items, though, out of those first couple of checks. We do have that small key, it looks like, but not going to go any further down to the coffee break chest.
Yeah, this being a pendant, he's not really wanting to do a whole lot with this. At this point, Locke is missing the keys necessary in order to beat this game. Plus, we also need to find the Palace of Darkness. Now, Remember earlier, Locke lost his the mirror portal before he was able to check out these 3 entrances dealing with the desert area. We find the spike cave that is out in the Hyrulean, what they call the East Lake shopping mall. Synack is getting ready to go back into desert, and I don't know why he keeps going into desert. I'm curious to what the process here is, going back through desert as many times as he has, trying to, I know it's more or less trying to get to the other side where the other entrance is, but he knows nothing's on the other side here, unless he thinks something's on the mountain.
Getting a look at the mushroom turn there from Locke. Just 20 rupees today, so that is not the answer. Synack continuing on.
The funny thing is the answer is on the other side of where this desert comes out.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the answer is.
It's like you're close, you're just not in the right world. Unfortunately, doesn't have that mirror either yet. That is sitting up in that second chest in Castle Tower. Locke finding Blind's Hut. Small keys, Ganon's Tower, Hyrule Castle.
Yep. So if there was anything in the back 3 of the escape, that would have automatically eliminated Aghanim at this point. So Synack back into desert. Or not.
Train of thought might be running dry with as many times he's been visiting desert.
And he's not heading down as Synack. There's something to do with Ice Palace, and I think at this point he's just waiting for the dot done. Although, you know, in Cross Sanity or Crossworlds, Cross Sanity, whatever this mode is.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a whole lot of insanity.
Yeah. And you know, the toughest thing is that I guess last week was tough because Hacksaw had the same issues, and that led into a runaway for Synack. This week it just is harder because of the fact that it's a teammate that is doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And there seems to be no sign of this coming to an end.
I mean, oddly enough, it seems like for whatever reason, Synack isn't checking those other 2 locations there by that fortune teller's hut where he needs to go by Lake Hylia.
He's got them written off like they're nothing at this point. That's the only assumption that I can make. He's got them written off like they are trash caves. There's Thieves Town entrance.
It's another Ganon's Tower small key. We don't have the big key to Thieves Town, so we won't be able to get to the front 4 unless we do have that big key hiding up here. Yeah, I'm almost convinced at this point that Synack does unfortunately have what is our Ice Palace location written off as a fortune teller shop or something of the like.
Yeah,
isn't planning on going back to check.
Yeah, he's got it written off as a place that he's checked, but he's got it written off as a place that is of no substance. So why go back?
Exactly. So the front of Thieves Town there not really yielding too much for us.
And 40 minutes in this mode is just a lot of time to let pass by without any sort of answers to what you need to do. The mirror, unfortunately, is going to take Synack away from where he needs to go. It's going to put him into a position where it's going to make him think, I've already been here. Or it's going to put him into places that he hasn't been to.
When Locke finding ether.
That's nice for Misery Mire, because again, we have not seen the entrance to the Palace of Darkness.
Synack making a dash back towards the Eastern Palace location here.
Oh, Locke is mirrored and didn't have Kiki open up the entrance. That's gonna cost Locke another 10 rupees.
Fortunately, at this point, the most worst still cost Locke is a little bit of time. Does have plenty of rupees to cover the extortionist's second fee. Synack finding the right side exit to Desert Palace through that connect.
Just 3 bombs, however.
Those were definitely some expensive bombs at 120 rupees there.
Well, only supposed to be 110 rupees.
Yeah, fair point. And still cheaper than the Zora bombs that we usually get every now and then as well.
Well, yeah, but still.
Alright, so is Mire entrance going to be our pod entrance today, or is this just going to be another junk entrance?
Well, we will find out in just a moment, as Ether just was used here by Locke. Locke going inside, and we find, there it is, the Palace of Darkness at Misery Mire.
So that is also locked behind Ether, which is further locked behind that Moon Pearl, unfortunately. We're now a few short keys away, specifically of the Turtle Rock variety, for Locke from being in go mode, I believe.
I have one more that he needs.
Oh, what am I missing here?
Desert Palace.
Oh, that is right. Need to stare at these little icons a little bit longer to see that one. Locke is missing a few of those larger keys. Pod does have a good number of checks here. We could find one or both of them hiding in here. Second check, though, just yielding us 300 rupees.
There's still a bunch of big keys that we have yet to see, so even if we see a big key here, does not mean that it's going to be one of the 2 that we so desire. Locke is doing his best to use keys efficiently inside of this Palace of Darkness. Gets 5 rupees for his efforts. And Synack is over here, sees that ether is required. Unfortunately, he doesn't have ether, nor does he have the position to use it at this stage. So far, 6 checks inside of this Palace of Darkness, something that we need for Locke as Synack. And this is where I was talking about the problems with this mirror. It's pushed Synack away from where he actually needs to go to get to where the Moon Pearl is. Granted, at this point, Synack is making new checks, which is nice. He needs to get to an old check of his right now.
Just keeps pushing him a little further and further away. With as much as Synack has been entering and exiting desert via Hyrule Castle, one could kind of hope if he comes out in the Dark World side outside of ice that he might want to use the mirror there.
This will be one that I will be extremely curious to what wound up happening here with Synack, as he stands in front of the ether, but he's going to check this desert entrance.
We are 9 checks down for Locke inside of Palace of Darkness. Still.
Nice place, kid. That's the big key to Ice Palace. No. But come on, Synack. Get that in. Use that information. Get into Ice Palace. Come on, think about it. Ice Palace. It's where you need to go.
It's pointing you there, man. Come
I
on.
just gave you a hint. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Control F on your document. Search Ice Palace. Find. Go.
Sick kid is just trying to give you some hints. That's a save and quit. Is that the right save and quit? Start home.
So
Go
far.
down. Go to the right. No!
No, not desert! Not desert!
Synack is back in Desert Palace. For those who didn't see it 45 minutes ago, Locke went into Ice Palace with the bombos. Made it to the first chest, got the bow. Did the icebreaker, found a single rupee on the other side, and then made his way over to where the spike room is, and found the Moon Pearl. Ever since then, Synack has been lost in trying to find his way around, while Locke has now pretty much created this insurmountable lead, to which, at this point, it does look like there will be a tie for second place for this division. And this will give Team Kappa a 2-game advantage. And it doesn't really matter if Synack knows Icebreaker or not. That is an accessible chest.
Kind of half, maybe almost ironic-ish part about it is that door that Synack keeps coming out of in the Dark World.
If he checked the
So that is-
Light World version of it, this problem would be solved.
He's right there, just in the wrong world.
Come on, Synack. You need Ice Palace.
Some of the doors that Synack has rechecked, quite a few of them, except that specific one that we do need to recheck. Oh. Synack is going back to the Connector from Hookshot Cave. Locke dropping on into a Helmasaur King fight. 17 hits to the face with the hammer. Knocking off that mask. A few quick slashes to the face with this tempered sword, and down goes the Helmasaur King. That at 1 hour and 48 minutes in will be yet another crystal number 4 for Locke, and just some rupees. So 14 checks in pod, but no items and no keys.
Yeah, which is interesting for this dungeon here. Now, don't forget, by the way, we do have 2 checks that are open to us in Turtle Rock.
Yes, we did get a second Turtle Rock key.
And Locke is about to get the big key to Ice Palace. Probably was excited until he found out that it's a light key, or a big key to a pendant dungeon.
And no sooner did you mention Turtle Rock as it looks like Locke is headed right back of that direction.
Yeah, he's going to be checking these 2 checks over here on the right-hand side. And that way he will be able to check these 2 and then get on out of here.
I feel like Synack at this point actually needs Clippy to be sitting there tapping on his screen, being like, hey, go here.
Like the seed gave him the perfect hint. You need to get into Ice Palace. And he has just completely brushed it off. He has no idea what he is missing. And Locke taking this connector. And you can't mirror there. We got ourselves a small key to Thieves Town.
Oh boy.
Now we don't have the big key yet, so that small key doesn't come into play just yet. And we find our rupee grinding cave.
So the hunt does continue for a couple of big keys.
Oh, there's Synack getting the ether by way of super bunnying. Now, hopefully we can take the frostiness of that coin to represent something. No!
Unfortunately,
Wide
that hint
desert!
has dried up as fast as we got it.
Back into desert. Why?
I mean, if maybe by some miracle Synack comes out on this right side again and decides to mirror, maybe.
He's not going to.
Instead, coming out through the center connector, which is the Spectacle Rock location.
Sing a sad song to make it better. This isn't Hey Jude. I went to the desert on a pointer with no name. The latest hit from America. I give Synack credit the fact that he's still trying to move around. It's just unfortunate that he's not going to find the answer.
Maybe hoping at this point, if we enter and exit this door enough, it'll magically transform. Meanwhile, over on Locke's side, that is quick work of the Armos Knights. 1 hour, 53 minutes in. That is crystal number 5 for Locke, but still missing those keys.
Yeah, and he can't beat the next 2 dungeons without those keys. Synack is finding small key to Ganon's Tower, small key to Hyrule Castle. Is there something in here to do with Ice Palace? Because he needs that right now more than ever.
And speaking of
Ice Palace, this is where Synack needs to go. But even if he gets into Ice Palace at this point, the damage is done.
We are heading to the right. We are going to the north.
He's got the Hyrule Castle key, so at this point he's checking the back 3. Even though it's not in logic. Now, having the hammer, Locke's going to be able to check this chest that he left behind earlier.
That switch gonna give us another look at the icebreaker here. Push ourselves through the barrier. Now it's back on down into the bottom of Ice Palace.
Simply put, answering the question from chat, how is Locke so far ahead? It's because Synack is not going to this dungeon that Locke is in. It's got the Moon Pearl. This is opening up the seed, and Synack's now been 55 minutes wandering around without any answer of where he needs to go to figure this thing out. Bombs inside of this chest. Kudos to Locke for not pulling on the tongue. That's been something that a lot of people who've done the icebreaker have forgotten to check. That chest that Locke just walked by, that is the answer to this seed. Right there. That is where the Moon Pearl was. Accessible with the hook shot. And again, this was accessible relatively early. We got the bombos as an early check. But the longer that Synack takes time to leave this behind, the further away Locke is just getting further and further ahead.
Oh, we found another big key.
Another pendant dungeon big key.
I mean, I gotta feel if you're Locke at this point, you see a big key and your heart kind of races a little bit, and as fast as it races, it just drops instantly when you read that. That is a pendant dungeon. Going back left. Go south. Go south.
Oh my goodness.
Go further south. Go to that fortune teller.
Does he have it? Oh, he finally has figured this out. Again, the damage is already done at this point. But the fact that he got inside of here. There's the silvers. 2 bows in this Ice Palace. Now, whatever you do, Synack, don't leave after that first bow. Do not leave after this first bow.
Keep going.
The bow unlocked the ability to finish off Eastern, which is only 1 check, but that's the thing, is you don't want Synack leaving. He's not leaving, which is good.
As Synack is getting his setup for the icebreaker, Locke is already on to Cold Stare. It's best to keep the puffs in the corner, and look at that, recovers nicely. That is one heck of a Cold Stare fight, only yielding a piece of heart for us, however. But a pendant, we might need those almost at this point.
Oh, be quiet.
I mean,
Through all of this torture, you want this to be a pedestal seed?
I mean, what are we left with almost at this point?
Tower big. Oh wait, that's a pendant.
That is a pendant.
That's all I got. There's the Moon Pearl for Synack. And there are the annoyed sword slashes as Synack has just figured out exactly how this seed was supposed to roll. And it was a 59-minute difference between the two.
Synack does have the answer. Unfortunately, like you said, it is darn near an hour difference between when Synack found it and when Locke initially found our Moon Pearl. Locke seeing another big key, but it once again, as we knew, was the Skull Woods big key.
But it might send him back to Skull Woods to check that one check. Because that is a possibility. Synack going through this hookshot cave, and at this point, you know you're behind. You know you're definitely 100% behind, because you know that this happened to your opponent last week in Hacksaw, so there's really not much that Synack can do, but now hope that Locke got just as locked up as he did. Spy? We know, unfortunately, that's not to be the case.
Locke was unable to unlock the seed very early on. Finding that Moon Pearl, which, like we've kind of alluded to, has basically cascaded into just about everything else.
Yeah. We found the arrow game.
And a brewery.
Brewery's more important, but it's just for a compass to Misery Mire.
All these goodies for dungeons we've already completed.
The unfortunate thing is that this is a part of the cross keys. This is part of Entrance Shuffle. And I'm sitting here and I'm groaning because this is going on to my teammate, but you gotta remember, my teammate's playing this and not me. So you gotta give him kudos, because I don't know if I'd be able to get through this.
Cross keys is definitely not one of the friendlier modes you could end up playing by any imagination.
Well, that's the thing about this league, is that there's a lot of different kind of modes that can be very, very difficult for all kind of runners here, and this is one of those weeks where this wasn't a strength of our team, and we knew this going in, that this wasn't going to be one of our strengths. As we see the Harapot set up here from Locke, he gets it pretty decent. We have access to 3 checks up here. We also have access to the one check that's downstairs. Small key to Turtle Rock.
That's one of them.
Key? Red rupee, not what we need to see.
You know, we'll have to say, interesting decision though, opting to go for the Harapot here, because you do have that other small key for Tower of Hera, and there is a chest in the basement.
This is a time save if Locke is able to pull off Harapot, which he was able to. So this makes sense, the fact that he's able to pull this off, because if he doesn't get what he's looking for up here, then he may have to go downstairs. But if he gets one of his big keys that he needs to beat this seed, then he's more inclined to walk away from downstairs. Unfortunately, he poked him on the first attempt there, which got him the fast mover. Does not get anything he's really looking for here. Picks up the red pendant, so we're probably going to see Locke go downstairs. If you're trying to determine where Locke is in this race, he is missing the big key to Desert Palace. You can't get to the Lamolas without it. And he is missing the Turtle Rock big key as well. And Locke is walking away from the downstairs.
Now that could kind of come back to be big here in a little bit.
Yeah, but Synack needs Locke to forget about that spot and to be wandering around aimlessly. Because I think the well is going to dry up for Locke before Synack catches up as far as the checks are concerned. Do not forget, we do have some checks in GT, I think, still.
We do have that big key now.
And as I mentioned before, that Skullwood's big key is going to lead Locke back in here for a single check. If he's able to not fall in a hole.
And Synack finds the back of Skullwoods over here.
Yeah, without the fire rod, he's not going to be able to do much with this.
He'll be able to get one check out of the way. I believe it was just some bombs, however.
Locke has decided to give up on trying to do that bomb jump, and he will now pull out the hook shot. And will go out back. And all of that just for 50 rupees. And Locke is out of here. Ah, we got our magic bed over here. This is where it turned up.
Yes, that is something else we have yet to see. Sprinkle a little bit of powder on the shrine, and today we are cursed with a small key of the Turtle Rock Sword.
Cursed?
Normally it's a curse.
I find it a blessing in disguise.
This depends on your point of view.
My point of view is skewed.
Just a little bit.
I like half magic. You remember quarter magic?
That was something they got rid of, I believe, after version 30, was it?
It was sooner than that. Back in the Tower of Hera.
I remember seeing people playing Seeds of Quarter Magic. I don't think I'd played any myself when it was a thing.
Alright, so Locke's gonna have a bunch of tiles being flung at him. What do you think is in this chest?
Oh, at this rate, the way things are pointing, it's gotta be a Thieves' Town big.
I disagree.
What are you feeling here?
I'm feeling like reading.
Yes, that was something else that would give us access to a couple more locations.
Yes, it would. Hilarious locations at that.
This is true. It's a big key of
Turtle Rock.
Turtle Rock.
There we go. We're not in go mode just yet, but this opens up a lot of chests. This opens up 6 checks, coming up 7 checks for Locke. And if the Desert Palace big key is one of them, that will be go mode for Locke here. Synack finding a fairy fountain. So this is where Locke has a whole bunch of time, because Synack's still in a position here where he's trying to figure out where things are. He's trying to make up 55 minutes of searching. Single arrow. He needed one. He only had 2.
We have a few more in our arsenal. Unfortunately, need 1 more for Ganon.
There's only one. There's only There's only one single arrow in the pool, though, Spy. He can't find another arrow.
He has to hope for a couple 10-packs.
I'll settle for a 6-pack. Fire red found for Synack.
At this point, I think we all would. Alright, Locke continuing on in Turtle Rock. Will we find our answer hiding down here just to the south?
There are 2 big keys remaining in this game. One of them is Desert, the other one is Thieves Town. You don't want to see the one to Thieves Town. Oh!
My.
Whoops! Should have checked those chests first before you went out that entrance. So we need 7 crystals to get into the Thieves Town, or rather the Turtle Rock back. At least it's just around the corner, but this is a couple of minutes that Locke's going to lose.
Fortunately, it's just right here to get on back.
Yeah, but it's just prolonging the suspense.
The suspense or pain, depending on your point of view at this point, I would say.
Spy, you've been a perfect commentary partner. This hasn't been pain.
Oh, well, good to know, good to know. We'll take try number 2.
The
at
race
Laser
on the other
Bridge
hand,
over here.
the race on the other hand, different story.
That was more or less what I was alluding to.
All right, Laser Bridge. Do we have a big key? Big key! Desert Palace. We are now in. Spy, this is your line.
That is go mode.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2 hours, 10 minutes, and 20 seconds. On into the match, we have found the last elusive big key.
And remember, we do not have to go back up Ganon's tower since we know where Ganon is, and these are fast Ganons for the sake of the siege. So you don't need to do Agate 2 in order to do damage to Ganon.
We need to grab ourselves those 7 crystals. Go to our drop down, and there we have it. Locke going for 0 cycle strats off the back of Trinex. Gets the firehead down quickly. Not quite getting the ice head fast enough. Does get 1 cycle. Still a nice 1 cycle there done by Locke. More explosions, and out comes the 3rd neck of Trinex. Not quite getting off the quick kill there, but recovers it nicely. Down goes Trinex. And at 2 hours, 11 minutes, and 30 seconds on in, that is our 6th crystal and the map of Ganon's Tower.
That is going to be a map we do not need. So, Locke standing in a good position here. In fact, unless something really weird happens, is going to put But We're Buddies into a tie for 2nd place as they will dish Team We're Bad their 3rd loss of the season. And which means Team Kappa can do no worse than their 1st place standings at the end of this week. And they've been the only team to possess 1st place throughout this entire season. And they've got grouchy old men this week. They have a pretty good chance of being in a position where they can sew up the division title quite easily next week.
Meanwhile, Locke getting deadrocked on the way up. Doing a few digs here, looking for that last elusive arrow that we still need to finish off Ganon.
You know where he's going to get it?
Are we gonna get a pack drop off of Lanmolis here?
Maybe. But there is a 5 arrow drop underneath one of the pots. Just outside of the Lamos. I think there's also some arrows in that room with the torches as well.
Oh,
There's a 10 drop right there. I was going to say, if he skips that.
Right? Maybe was looking for a single arrow just to kind of keep it interesting. I don't know. Locke does have enough arrows now. Moving on into the last crystal fight of the day as Synack grabbing those Titans mid.
Yeah, but the problem is that he didn't do tile room where the lamp is, or rather where the hammer is.
Alright, Landmo's fight here for Locke. Blink and you will definitely miss that. That is a 1 cycle with that fire rod. What a place for that book. Inconsequential at this point, but that is crystal number 7.
Yep.
We are dashing to a quick drop down and making some bacon.
Speaking of dashing to a drop down, that was what Synack just did.
That one was a little assisted by the beetle, though.
Well, yeah, but still, dashing to a drop down.
Fair point.
Alright, so Locke's just gonna have to go across this water and drop on down, and it will be a or rather a tempered sword silver Ganon for Locke.
A little bit of nutritional advice from Ganon this evening. That is a nice teleport location right there. The slashing continues. We are on into phase 2. A lot going for some cane strats here. It'll lag us up a little bit, but allow him to get in a few extra hits. Not quite enough to advance on into phase 3 quite yet. There we go, phase 3. 4 quick slashes in this phase, depending on how much frequent flyer miles Ganon wants to cash in as he teleports around his room.
Over the top right corner to enter stage number 4. Silvers is indeed his one true weakness. That was just a bit outside. Here's a double, triple, nope. Just a little too late for the triple. Gets a single over here. And the final slash here, final silver arrow. And we have a tie for second place in the Lost Woods division. Get your GGs as Locke locks in the victory for But We're Buddies. And Synack immediately says, nope, I'm done. Thanks for playing. Good night, everyone.
That is an official SRL time for Locke of 2 hours, 16 minutes, and 36 seconds.
And we welcome in Locke in to talk about this seed with us, to share in the misery or the happiness of this seed.
All right, listen, it's not misery, because the seed I played last night was worse. It was way worse.
What made this better?
It wasn't a PED seed. It wasn't an Aga 1 required seed. It wasn't a... You have to get gloves to get your hammer, to get your fire source, to get more gloves. This is better. This was way better.
So, we're gonna... Obviously, you've had the chance to talk with Synack real briefly. And you know what the plight with Synack was, is that he left behind Ice Palace for the longest time. And it was a 59-minute difference between when you got the Moon Pearl out of there and when he finally got it at an hour 58.
Oh, that's rough. That's about when I was in go mode almost. Just looking for
almost, yeah. You were a couple of big keys at that point away from being in go mode, and it just... that moon pearl opened up so much into this seed because it led you over to the fire rod, which was in Skull Woods. It led you to the mitts as well as the hammer, and shout out to that awful hammer location.
That's a pretty good one.
So
That was definitely a good one.
what made you check tile room before you checked the rest of that side of the GT?
Usually when I go into GT with like cross keys or entrance or anything, I just go as far as I can. Like I'll start in if I have to go right side, I'll start in tile room, just work my way down because you're pretty much checking everything anyway. You know, you don't want to leave things behind when you're looking for so much.
So if you didn't want to leave things behind, what was your theory in regards to the Tower of Hera basement?
I forgot it. I actually legitimately meant to do that while I was still there. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do, Hera basement, knock all of Hera out, and then I completely spaced it after I beat Hera. I was like, all right, I got magic powder, I got Skull's big key, I can do those together. Let me do that real quick. And then I was like, oh yeah, Hera basement. Oops.
Heading into this match, you were one game behind Team We're Bad at team names for second place in the division, with quite the schedule still ahead of you as far as week 6 and 7 were concerned. How good does it feel to at least get this victory, to at least get yourself better in the playoff hunt in the Lost Woods division?
I'm glad I could support my team because they're going to be doing all the hard work the next 2 weeks. I get to just read the spoiler log next week, and I don't actually know if I'm playing week 7 or not. Well, I'll find out, but just reading next week, it's easy.
Next week, you're having to face off against the division-leading Team Kappa, who have smugly... We're cheering on your victory tonight because this now gives them a 2-game advantage in the Lost Woods division. Anything that you or your teammates would like to say to those smug-inducing Team Kappa players?
Chelsea's coming for you. Chelsea's going to take you down. I don't know about Phallus, but Chelsea's got this.
Just make sure you read that spoiler log well, because we're going to need all the help we can after this split or losing 0-2 to you guys, because we got Team Kappa in week number 7.
Ooh, you guys got this. You can take them.
We'll see about it.
Let's both just agree to just take them down right now, because I see Fear in the chat. We're going to take you down, Fear.
Fear is in chat and has been promptly putting out the Team Kappa emotes all evening long. As I said before, just excited about the fact that you guys improved to 6-3 and took us down to 6-3 while they're sitting there on top of their perch at their happy 7-1. The Lost Woods division's coming for you, Fear.
The entire division.
But yeah, GG's to you. Not a bad seed overall. I think this actually... Was this one of the fastest times this week?
That'd be interesting. What, a 2:16?
What was the finish time?
2:16:36.
Okay, it was second place because Korek ended up finishing 2:05:08.
Okay.
And you just narrowed out for Amy with a 2:16:47. So this is the second fastest of week number 5 so far out of 5 races.
I will take it.
I think I've put in all the smack talk that I possibly can. I know our team's going to get revenge against you tomorrow night when Chelsea X Lynn faces off against Clifford in the second of these 2 matches. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to turn this on over to Spyweaver, who will take over the rest of this interview process.
Do we have anything else on that one that you would like to say there, Locke, about either tomorrow night or what we got coming up?
I believe in my teammate Chelsea. She's been practicing. She's got this. She better got this. Because we need that win. Get that win.
You can get yourself back up into a solid sole possession of that second place. But that matchup will take place tomorrow night at 6:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The channel is yet to be determined. It's one of the many matches we do have on the list, including we also have the spoilers against Link Finds a Way, Dr. Marty O against Ovadius Naso. Team Challenge versus Missing Bow, that's Fajita Knight on Houston Baba. That one is at 7:10. We also have at 7:10 Les French Canadians against I Like Big Boots. That one is Asclepios Rod against Zero Rush as well at 7:10. Once again, the channels for all these yet to be determined, so keep your eye on that schedule. And those should be coming up very shortly or early in the morning tomorrow for you.
I'll think about it. It depends on how much Chelsea and Clifford want to pay me off for the channels tomorrow. I might give Clifford a discounted rate, but Chelsea X Lynn, no.
A little bit of favoritism being shown there for some reason. I can't imagine why we're seeing that here, but
well, of course. I mean, Clifford is my staff co-worker here with Speed Gaming, so therefore I have to give him a discount. It's nothing team related.
oh, definitely not at all. Right.
Oh, look at this bribery from Chelsea trying to give me an Animal Crossing bell when I don't even have Animal Crossing.
But you could have a bell. Just think, you could have one.
I can play Untitled Goose Game and get a bell. By the way, we do have a match of that coming up 8 p.m. on Saturday here on Speed Gaming. We'll let you know what channel it is down the road.
But other than that, I don't really have too much else for you as far as the schedule goes for Randomizer.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about what we got coming up, wrap things up. GG's to Locke. You definitely deserve this win. You played pretty much, once you got that Moon Pearl out of Vice, you just pretty much turned the Afterburners on. And even if Synack was able to come away with the Moon Pearl shortly after that, you had the advantage all throughout. So GG's to you and congratulations on the win. That will do it for matches on tonight's schedule. We do have a Metroid Prime 2 randomizer match tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, then all the matches that are going to be coming up tomorrow night. Once again, we'll get a schedule put together for day number 2 of Cross Keys Week.
Woo, cross keys.
Boo, Cross Keys. There's a reason why I'm not playing it.
There's a reason I played it. This was the reason.
Yeah, I'm not good of Crossworlds.
I
Entrance Shuffle does not agree with me.
I multi it way too much. I usually do cross world, cross dungeon, Randomizer dumbness with Death Futon and Shadow. So I'm used to cross keys.
Yeah, I probably should do more of it, which would get me better at it, which would probably help out the team this week, but too little too late. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Enough about me, enough about my plights with this mode. Locke takes this game, and we have a tie for second place, with both teams now sitting with 6-3 records. Game 2 of this week coming up tomorrow night. So for T Sigma, who's also not helping with the Team Kappa emotes in the chat, I saw you doing that. For Spyweaver, my commentator partner, for the rest of the crew behind the scenes, I'm Adirondack Rick saying thank you, and may all your entrances this week be completely shuffled up.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Catch you next time.